So you asked, when are you going to die? And, that's a really hard question to answer truthfully. And it's a hard video to make about this subject. But I'm going to try, so let's get into it. So, life expectancy for a man in the UK born in 1964 is 75 and a half years. That was in 1964. Things have improved since then with diet, exercise, the environment. So life expectancy now is rising, but it has flattened off in recent years. But I can now expect to live to being 82. Now, that is a really sobering thought and process to go through, to look at your life expectancy and be given 22 years to live. That may seem like a long time, and it is a it was really difficult to think about, to be honest. But when you look at Attia's four horsemen of the apocalypse, and you look at the causes of death here in the UK, it's that is an optimistic view of how long I'm going to live. But the key thing is I want to live healthily, and I want to live healthily for my kids. And that's my big why. Peter Attia's book Outlive asks, what is your why? And for me, my why is the family, my three kids, and enjoying watching them growing up. So, what are Peter Attia's four horsemen, and how do they apply to me? And more importantly, what am I going to do about them? So, first up is cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks, stroke, problems with circulation, blood. And I have the beginnings of heart disease. I saw a cardiologist when I was 58, and there's clear measurement of plaque in my arteries. It is a known issue within my family tree, so it's not something which really surprises me. Um, it is the biggest killer in the UK at the moment for 6-year-old men. 13.3% of deaths are caused by heart disease. And once I get through the horsemen, we'll talk about what am I going to do about these things. So, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, things that go wrong with your brain, these are obviously all big concerns. However, my family haven't lived long enough to really demonstrate any history of this sort of thing. And it's hopefully still 10, 20 years away for me. But I have to think about how do I do preventative things now. And right now, that's going to be diet and exercise, which we'll come on to. So, next up is cancer, which can happen anywhere, anytime, any part of your body. I had a cancer scare just last year where I had to get a patch of skin removed from the back of my hand. The doctor did say there were cancerous cells in there, but it was very superficial, and they got it all out. And it was a type of skin cancer that would not metastasize. So I was very relieved with that, but it was obviously a stressful time. Um, Lung cancer is actually the biggest cause of cancer deaths, but I've never smoked, so I hopefully won't be troubled by that too much, if at all. So the last on the list is diabetes and metabolic dysfunction. Now, I've always looked after my weight, and that's what we're going to come on to next to discuss how am I going to avoid the four horsemen. And I'm not really worried about my weight, insulin levels, my blood sugar. I think that they are all going to be good. I didn't have any problems in the medical I had a few years ago when they did a full set of blood works. I don't have any symptoms of any of this, and I do find it relatively easy, although getting much harder as I get older, to control my weight and control my nutrition and cut out sugar and things like that. So I'm not too worried about this aspect because I think this is probably the easiest one to manage. So let's have a look at this chart. It's 25 years of my weight measurements, highs and lows, and general trend. Now, I've got two metrics for my fitness. One is how many miles have I run in a week, and the other is how heavy I am. How heavy I am being a sort of a proxy measurement of how well I'm eating and what my nutrition is like, and as an outcome of the exercise. So it is a good, healthy marker. But when you look at this chart, you can see there's a few things which look a bit odd, and let's have a look at those in detail. So when you look at the early noughties, just after 9/11, I was exercising a lot. That was due to stress, trying to relieve stress. 9/11 was a big problem for me. But I actually think that was the fittest I was in my whole life. And that was due to the exercise, the diet I was on because of high blood pressure. And also training for marathons. I did New York, Washington, Buffalo, and Atlantic City, a number of marathons. And I ran my fastest marathon at that time at my heaviest weight, which seems a bit strange, but that's the case. But now, when you look at where I've shifted to, I think at my next big peak, I think I've lost quite a bit of weight from a point of view of lean muscle mass weight. I think at least 5 kilograms has changed from lean muscle to fat in that period. And I think that's one of the health risks that I face. I think I need to get much leaner, get my visceral fat down, subcutaneous fat down, and actually build 3 or 4 kilograms of muscle. The next thing to notice really is the wild swings I've had each year since the children have been born. It was much tighter when I was in my sort of 40s, but now I'm into my sort of 60s, and this period here, my sort of late 50s. You can see that stress at work, stress at home, bringing up a young family, changing lifestyle, changing total change in my whole life basically has resulted in quite large swings during the year where I would get an injury or an illness and not exercise 3 or 4 months in a row, and then pick it up again, watch my diet, get my weight down, and then repeating that cycle. And I think that has not been very good for my muscle mass. The weight loss and then gaining it, the weight loss and gaining it, that's not muscle, that's fat. And it's a vicious cycle that I really must break. And I'm going to do that through concerted effort and getting my weight down, and then getting my weight back up, but adding muscle to raise my weight again. So I want to get down to my average or normal midpoint of normal BMI for me, and that will be my starting point for really building muscle up. So what targets and other measurements do I have? Well, I'm not going to do much about my height unless I improve my posture, but I do want to reduce my weight to that midpoint, which is 68.8 kilograms, which I hope will improve my waist to height ratio. It's just on the borderline of being not healthy right now, so I want to get that down to 0.45. That will be a good measurement of my overall fitness and actually improve my athletic build and shape, and get rid of my dad bod if I can achieve that. And also, going back to Peter Attia's book and Outlive, the key metric is VO2 max. I want to improve my VO2 max. It's already pretty good for a man my age, but I think that 52 is a realistic target for me, and I need to have a good training program to get there. That's going to be the subject of my next video, which will be some coaching from ChatGDP. But those are my targets, and I'm going to hit them. And it's simple as that. That's a promise to myself. So I'm going to focus on exercise and nutrition as the first start of my program, but I'm not going to forget sleep, looking after my mental health, avoiding stress, and stability. So nutrition, I want to reduce my sugar intakes, cut out all ultra-processed foods, stick to my no alcohol plan, low carbs, high in fiber, add more protein to my diet, and actually no cake. So that's a big challenge, is no cake. But strength training, walking, as much zone 2 as I can fit in. And zone 2 is rewarded in Strava. So my final thing for today is I want to set a target to beat my all-time Strava score of 91. Strava seems to reward cardio and penalises spending time doing strength training. So the first part of my weight loss program is going to be zone 2 cardio, and get up to over 91 in Strava, and then start to switch to strength training, trying to keep my Strava score above 100, but by doing that, fitting in as much strength training as possible. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I've set myself some targets, and keep tuning in, and you get an update. Talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.